Gynecologists. What's the worst thing you've ever seen at work? There was a case where a patient came in for a checkup with a severely inflamed vagina. Honestly, I didn't know what to do about it. The doctor who was there took a look and said he had never seen anything like it. It looked like she was trying to fix something on her own, but made it worse. It looked like someone had tried to put something like shampoo or shower gel in there, and it had caused horrible inflammation. I was shocked, to be honest. I once had a patient who came in with a bleeding ulcer. It turned out that she had experimented with some food object. Anyway, we won't go into details, but I still wonder how anyone could think of such a thing. I ask her, "How did you even come up with that?" And she proudly replies, "I thought it would be fun." Fun. I remember a girl came in who had unknowingly used a couple of pills for a cleanse, but she had taken them internally. I was horrified when I looked at her results. No medical background, just trusting recommendations from the internet. After that, I couldn't help but wonder how many people like that are even walking around with this in their heads. The things they do are not always worth it. This is probably the creepiest story I can remember. We had a patient who came in with an almost complete rupture. After she tried to use a metal toy recommended by a friend. I won't go into details, but you should have seen how I felt when I had to stitch it all together. Even now, I'm not comfortable with that picture. It was just horrible. I had a girl at my appointment who came in with a horrible infection. And when I started the exam, I realized that the whole area around her stunk so bad that I had to actually take pauses several times to keep from throwing up. It looked like she had just forgotten about personal hygiene or didn't care at all. After 10 minutes, her mom, who also happened to be a doctor, came into the office, saw what was going on, and said, "Well, it's always like this with her." I almost fainted. My mom explained in all seriousness that it was normal. I thought I was going to lose my mind. And you know what the worst part was? She kept coming in for checkups with the same problems, and my mom didn't think it was worth treating. I didn't know how I was going to work with that. I had a patient who came in and stated that everything was kind of swollen in there. Well, I didn't think much of it, but when I started examining her, I realized that her swollen place resembled more of a seashell than human anatomy. Fuck, that was just fucked up. Turns out she was trying to self-treat the fungus with some pills and ointments she'd bought on eBay. I could barely contain my vomit when I realized that she now thought her problem would be solved with one ointment. I didn't even know what to say. I just told her that that's not really the right way to go about it. Do you know what it's like to have to help a girl who has a problem you're in shock about? My patient came in with hell, I don't even know how to explain it. Severely damaged skin around her, you know? Anyway, she was trying to do some experimental procedure to improve her plasticity and accidentally burned herself with that damn body cream. Not only did she end up giving herself a chemical burn, but she also got an infection. My hands were shaking when I saw what happened to her. And you know what she said to me? "But I thought body cream was good for everything." So there you go. There was an occasion when a woman came to see me, and I immediately noticed that something was wrong. She looked very depressed, and her body was clearly trying to signal that she was not taking care of herself. As I began to examine her, she admitted that she had been using something like plastic bottles to extend herself for months. I thought it was just thrash. But when I saw her, I realized that she had actually disfigured herself so much that she had to have tissue removed. It was so scary that I could barely contain my emotions. She ended up telling me that she started doing it because she lacked attention from her partner. That's just dumb. How can you be so dumb as to do this to yourself for the sake of others? This is a story I've always remembered. I had a patient with a problem that he didn't solve because he was ashamed. He didn't go to the doctor for a long time because he was ashamed. Then he finally came, and I realized that he was trying to solve the problem on his own with internal injuries made by his some kind of fetish. He was using various objects like rods and sticks. I was horrified when I saw what had become of him. He just put his life on hold and tried to fix everything himself. I don't know what to say. It's people like that that I can't get over. Don't you have the brains to realize that it will lead to such a result? I remember when a woman came to me who was just so stinky that I immediately wanted to send her to a sanitarium. And it wasn't just body odor, but some kind of boner that made me really think I was going to die. Turns out she had a bunch of unresolved infections. All because she was trying to cure herself with some obscure infusions and oils. I thought I'd never work again when I saw what happened to her. Oh, I had such a case. A girl comes to me and I immediately realize that it's not just a smell, it's some kind of natural herbal aroma. She tells me that she was treated with oils and tinctures. I immediately realized that she doesn't just have infections, but a whole ecosystem. And she's sitting there not understanding why her body smells like that. Fuck, I thought the walls of the office were gonna fall down from that scent. I just had to tell her that she shouldn't be treated with oils, but at least cleaned properly and seen by a doctor. I am not a gynecologist, but I remember when a man came to me complaining of inexpressible pain in his groin area. He was so worried that he was almost crying. When I started to examine him, I realized that his pain was not from what he thought it was. He was trying to treat himself with old-fashioned methods, putting in some jars and nasty stuff that I didn't even know about. As a result, one of his healing organs had such a horrible ulcer on it that I could barely contain my gagging. I asked him what he smoked, and he said, "It's okay. It's normal folk methods. Everything will be fine." At that point, I realized that we had to fix him immediately. In fact, it wasn't really a treatment, it was a total fuck-up. There was also a woman who came to me complaining of terrible pain with every movement. I started to examine her, and what did I find? There was an object inside her that she had no idea what it was. Turns out it was her own bracelet that she had lost. And she hadn't noticed it was stuck in a delicate area. Not just stuck, but really firmly stuck. It was so weird and funny I could barely contain my laughter. Moreover, she didn't even think about it until the pain started. Well, how can I work calmly after stories like that? Look, I had a case where I really thought I was in some kind of nightmare. A guy comes to me complaining of a weird discharge and a terrible pain. I'm thinking, what the fuck? And then I see what's going on with him. He had a case of fucking parasite infestation that he brought back from some fucking trip himself. Turns out he ended up in an exotic country where someone gave him some local, natural remedies. And then he decided to go to the beach and sort of exercise in the sand. As a result, the damn parasites started eating his body from the inside out. I didn't even know what to say. Such an exotic way of treatment. And he was in complete shock that it was not just poisonous infections, but actual worms living inside him. It was so wild that I almost didn't believe my eyes. I remember a woman came to me complaining of itching and burning in the intimate area. When I started to examine her, I was shocked. It turned out that she was trying to cure herself of the infection by using attention, vinegar, and some pepper mixtures. She said she had read on a forum that it helped with any inflammation. When I saw her condition, I just didn't know what to say. These folk methods led to burns and even worse, to the development of serious infections. Thank goodness she was okay, but I didn't think she was going to survive it herself. So, never follow the advice you get on forums, especially when it comes to your health.
Hey, like and subscribe to follow our new videos.